Yaffee program on WVNN.
We just can't help ourselves, can we? We just can't seem to help ourselves. Now, I could say that sentence and mean 20 million different things, but yes, I got to talk about Dolly Parton real quick, once again, because one of the main things about Dolly Parton that we kept talking about the last couple of days is that she was the last sort of bipartisan figure, universally beloved, no matter who you are, where you're from, and what your politics are. But now I am seeing on social media, and of course I'm seeing it on social media. This is the problem. But I'm just seeing it different places and people I know, people I'm friends with doing this thing where we're like, no. We must politicize her. We must do it. And I've talked to people in different conservative publications that are talking about how, a lot of conservatives don't like her. And I'm like, why? What are you talking about? So yesterday I read how some communist had a post that went viral because they didn't like her because she's a capitalist. But now I'm seeing a bunch of places where the left is like, see, here is her getting the vaccine. That means she's one of us and she's friendly towards trans people or something. I don't know. And then people on the right are like, she got the vaccine that makes her very bad, even though there are a lot of conservatives. Trump endorsed the vaccine, remember? But no, that made her very bad. And then some people who I know were like implying maybe that's what killed her or something. And this is a sign of our times. We can't help ourselves. We just can't. We see something like this, and instead of being like, yeah, she was universally beloved, because by the vast majority of the American people, she was. But there are those out there, got to get those clicks, got to get those views, and it's a little crazy. But it's also why you have me. I am your voice of reason. I tell you, you need a voice of reason, so here I am, just for you. You are listening to the Yaffee program. This is the show where you can count on the latest news, the important guests, and the best analysis, all for your morning commute, here on News Talk 770 AM, 92.5 FM, WVNN. Coming up on the show today, talk a little bit about this lawsuit with Meta. Alabama was a part of this, getting some money from Meta because of what they were doing, getting kids addicted to social media. So we'll talk about that. We have the Alabama bullet points coming up. At the bottom of the hour, I saw this story from Paul Ryan at the Wall Street Journal, and he had an interview as well, talking about welfare reform and what that should look like. And I know a lot of people in MAGA world don't like Paul Ryan anymore, but he was right about this issue. So we'll discuss that. We also have some stats out of Texas when it comes to school choice, which is a good lesson for us here in Alabama when it comes to that issue. In the next hour, I'll speak with Christopher Reed. He's host of The Daily Controversy. You can check out his show 2 to 4 p.m. right here on WVNN, also at thedailycontroversy.com. And Bugsy is here producing once again. That means she'll do What's Trending in the next hour. Bugsy, how are you today?
I'm doing so awful today, Yaffee. I can't believe I didn't get to go pick up your coffee today. I needed that. I needed that to start my day. I needed to feel useful.
Okay. I mean, I can find things to make you feel useful if you want. If you want to do that. There's something we can do.
To find all the bronze ducks again in Huntsville and getting the top prize for getting a
That
world
is a
record.
very underrated thing in Huntsville. I just have to say.
Fun.
That is fun. And there are so many people that live here that have no idea what we're talking
And
about.
the visitor center is super cool, by the way. I found that out. Like, you live here, so you never go. And I win, and it's really cool.
It is. I agree. It's a very underrated part of downtown Huntsville, the duck hunt. Is what we should call it. Okay. Well, I mean, you could have got yourself some coffee and waited for an hour.
What money, Yaffee? What money?
Oh, that's true.
I
would have
barter.
ordered it for you. I would have done it for you. That's all right. You're my favorite because you got me that coffee yesterday. You're my favorite person.
Got hit by a car. Look at that. Barely, but
true.
It counts.
Of course you did. All right. All right. I also end the show with the Yaffee program Rewind, and we always Take your text messages on the Yaffee text line, 866-494-9866, 866-494-WVNN. So I'll have some more details on this in the Alabama bullet points coming up next, but I'll read some of this. Yellowhammer News had the story. Alabama wins landmark $117 million settlement against Meta. Attorney General Steve Marshall forces sweeping child safety reforms. Says Alabama will hold big tech accountable. So he announced Wednesday, Steve Marshall, that Meta Platforms, Inc. will pay Alabama $117 million and rebuild how Instagram and Facebook work for every user under 18. Because his office tried the case in-house, the Attorney General said 100% of the money goes to the state of Alabama. What's interesting about this story to me is this is one of those issues that's pretty bipartisan. It seems like no matter what your political affiliation is, and maybe unless you're like an extreme libertarian, I guess, but most people tend to agree that we need regulations on social media for those that are underage. Now, it's kind of common sense. We see the ramifications of allowing a generation of people to get addicted to social media, the problems that comes with that. That's maybe not the best thing for young minds, okay? We get it. And most people get it. It's the same thing. It's why we have age limits when it comes to TV shows, to movies, to buying alcohol, cigarettes, whatever it is. We understand that there are certain things that maybe are not appropriate for kids. And both sides seem to understand it when it comes to social media. That's a good thing. What drives me crazy, though, I have to say, is a lot of people will see this. Oh, yeah, we need to do some social media for kids. But then you bring up, say, the trans issue, and all of a sudden what they say changes. I don't understand it. You have the Alabama Library Board. We've talked a lot about this. John Wall is the chairman of that board. He's going to be our next lieutenant governor. But he merely talks about, okay, maybe some of these books are not really appropriate for children, and we should put them in the adult section. People freak out. But also, I want to play this cut from Abdul El Sayed. He is running for the Senate in Michigan. This cut went viral. I'm sure many of you saw it. But I'll play it again because he was on with Jesse Waters, and it was the same kind of thing. Where it's like, this should be common sense when it comes to, say, gender transition surgeries for minors. Maybe it's not appropriate for kids. Like I said, we all agree on so many other things, including social media. We should have some restrictions for kids. But this? Oh, no, that's a problem. And his reaction was just, well, beyond reason. But play the Abdul El Sayed cut for me.
Look, I remember having great conversations with my conservative friends about right-to-try legislation. The idea that the government shouldn't tell you what kind of health care you should have. I just think the government shouldn't tell you what kind of health care you should have. And if you're a minor, it's between
you want
your
to try
doctor
on
and your
kids?
parents. Now, if you disagree with that, if you disagree that health care decisions need to be made by a doctor and their parents and a patient, then we think we agree to disagree. But, you want to put government inside
So, Abdul,
a clinic
you're
or
a doctor,
hospital
right?
selectively. I am.
So you think it's okay for a parent to slash his kid's thing-a-ling off? You think that's okay?
I mean, do you really want to have this conversation? Are you circumcised?
Yeah, but I mean, that's a
Jesse,
personal question.
Okay,
doctor.
So you probably should want to move on.
Is circumcision's different than castration?
I think it's a problem. It's a problem that you think that you get to decide what happens between a parent, a doctor, and a patient. And I'm just saying that, yes, circumcision is surgery on a kid's ding-a-ling. So if you really want to bring that up, you can. I just think you guys are really selective about how you want to talk about these things.
Abdul, Michigan's not going for that.
I mean, Jesse Waters is right, but see what's happening here? One, Abdul El Sayed believes in Medicare for all. The government, under a plan like Medicare for all, the government's going to be all over healthcare. And they already are now, but I mean, you want to talk about, you don't want the government in control of what you want to do with your healthcare. You literally want the government to control our entire healthcare system. But beyond that, it's just so weird. We talk about parents' rights with school choice education. We talk about parents' rights with social media, all kinds of stuff where conservatives talk about parents' rights and the left goes nuts. But the one issue where the left is like, oh, we want parents to have rights, is transgender surgery, transing the kids and indoctrinating them on a lot of this stuff in schools. Then all of a sudden they're like, oh, we believe in a parent's rights. So it just, to me, I thought about that. It just, this whole issue with Meta exposed just how crazy they are on that other issue, because when it comes to what El Said was talking about, transgender surgeries for minors, it should be just as bipartisan as the Meta thing, as Facebook, as limiting stuff for social media and doing it in schools too. So I just wanted to point that out. And of course, that guy probably is going to be the next senator of, well, I don't know. Hopefully he loses, but there's a good chance he wins. He'll be the next senator of Michigan. By the way, if you have a free moment, I keep forgetting to grab the audio, but there is a video of him. He put out a commercial where Abdul El Said, is acting like the host of Blue's Clues, and made a little video where he's like the host of Blue's Clues and telling people to vote for him. That is a real thing. I kid you not. It is ridiculous. And he might be the next senator from Michigan. If you want to weigh in, you can. We have the Yaffee text line, 866-494-9866, 866-494-WVNN. By the way, real quick, speaking of healthcare, if you're over the age of 65 and you need help with your healthcare, dealing with Medicare, trying to find a good place to see a primary doctor, but also get some kind of screening, well, you can get that all done in one place with my good friends at VIP Care. Very easy to do. Go to the website, find a doctor at getvipcare.com, getvipcare.com. It's primary care with a heart for seniors. They have locations across North and Central Alabama, and you get all of the things you need done in one place. They have 24/7 support as well, same-day appointments, which is awesome. I mean, I wish I could go, but like I said, it's a primary care with a heart for seniors. If you have any family members maybe that need it, go to getvipcare.com. Make an appointment today. And when you do, let them know Yaffee was the one who sent you. We'll get to the Alabama bullet points coming up next here on the Yaffee program. Stay with us.
You're listening to Yaffee on WVNN.
We're back here on the Yaffee program. This is News Talk 770 AM, 92.5 FM, WVNN. If you miss any of the show live, well, the podcast actually works now, and it will be up at the website, WVNN.com, or anywhere you subscribe and get your podcasts. Let's get to the headlines once again right now. We have the Alabama bullet points.
Alabama bullet points. Today's headlines from around the Yellowhammer State.
Sponsored by Larry's Pistol and Pawn. Number 4 today, Alabama's political leaders praised the Trump administration's latest investments in rural health care. That's right, most of Alabama's Republican political leaders praised a newly announced $144 million federal investment under the Trump administration's Rural Health Care Transformation Program, which will fund 138 grants aimed at expanding access to care, modernizing rural healthcare technology and infrastructure, and strengthening the state's healthcare workforce through training, scholarships, apprenticeships, and recruitment. Now, the funding is tied to the Working Family Tax Cuts Act passed by Republicans and opposed by Democrats. It is intended to improve mental health, substance abuse, emergency, and maternal care while giving states flexibility with accountability for results. So it's being praised by Katie Britt, Tommy Tuberville, Gary Palmer, Barry Moore, Mike Rogers. So there you go. Number 3 today, Tommy Tuberville slams the Canadian government as the trade war ramps up, says they have absolutely been stealing us blind for years. So U.S. Senator Tommy Tuberville criticized the Canadian government during a Wednesday speech at the Athens Limestone County Chamber of Commerce. He argued that Canada has undercut America's forestry and lumber industries for years through government subsidies that allow cheap lumber to flood the U.S. market and drive down prices for American producers. He said recent additional tariffs on Canadian goods, 50% tariffs imposed on August 22nd at President Trump's direction, are needed to restore competitiveness and put American workers, farmers, and manufacturers first. claiming Canada has been stealing us blind by dumping subsidized products. Canada has announced plans for retaliatory measures starting September 8th, while Trump separately stated that the U.S. has carried Canada for decades and will no longer allow it. Number 2 today, what I was talking about at the top of the show, Alabama wins a landmark $117 million settlement against Meta. And Attorney General Steve Marshall forces sweeping child safety reforms. He says Alabama will hold big tech accountable. So Alabama Attorney General Steve Marshall announced that Meta will pay the state $117.3 million, rising to as much as $168 million if Snap, TikTok, and YouTube accept comparable rules. And overall, Instagram and Facebook for users under 18 as part of this 47-state settlement. They claimed that the company designed addictive products, exposed children to mental health harms, and misled the public. Now, the deal, described as the largest state consumer protection settlement outside big tobacco, requires 2-hour daily time caps with mandatory protective pauses, midnight to 6 a.m. It blocks limited school hour notifications, stronger age checks, parental controls, and much, much more. And number 1, so Doug Jones, who is the Democrat nominee for governor, has challenged Tommy Tuberville to a debate, but Tuberville responded, said that Alabama has nothing new to learn about Doug Jones. He said D.C. Doug spent his time in the Senate voting for Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi. So U.S. Senator Tommy Tuberville's gubernatorial campaign rejected former Senator Doug Jones' recent call for a series of debates, with campaign chairman telling Yellowhammer News that Alabamians already know the candidates' records and would learn nothing new except Doug Jones claiming it'll be different this time. Now, they contrasted Tuberville's Senate votes for Alabama with Jones's alignment with Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi, citing Jones's 9% Heritage Action score, opposition to Brett Kavanaugh, and votes to convict Donald Trump. Tuberville also has a large fundraising lead in this race. And I know Jones wants to debate the data center stuff too. He's very, very anti-data center these days, and we can talk more about that because, as you know, Tuberville is very, very pro-data center in the state of Alabama. This segment of the program is brought to you by Larry's Pistol and Pawn. I might need to go there soon and get my wife some new earrings because I saw today once again she was wearing those pumpkin spice latte earrings, little earrings that look like pumpkin spice lattes, and I'm like, maybe if I buy her really nice earrings at Larry's Pistol and Pawn instead, she'll wear those instead. So, I mean, although I did buy, it was actually a few years ago, I bought her diamond earrings at Larry's Pistol and Pawn. Why didn't you wear those instead? She's sending a message to me. But anyway, if you want to buy your wife some new earrings or maybe some other jewelry, they really have the best selection at Larry's Pistol and Pawn. Now, it's located in Madison of Greenbrier Exit 3 by the Big Rusty Water Tower. It's an 18,000 square foot facility. You can even put jewelry on layaway. They have financing options for you, and the selection really is huge. They can do a jewelry setting. Maybe you want an engagement ring and you need a good setting for it, need it to be resized, whatever. Want a good diamond. They have all of that at Larry's Pistol and Pawn. Another location in Huntsville off North Memorial Parkway, and you can see some of the latest deals on jewelry and much, much more on the website, pistolandpawn.com. That's pistolandpawn.com. When you go, make sure to let them know Yaffee was the one who sent you. So I think most people agree we need welfare reform in this country. The question is, how do you do it? One, I mean, it's hard to get the votes on anything because Democrats, their goal is to get more and more people dependent on welfare. But we'll talk about a plan coming up next here on the Yaffee program. Stay with us.
The Yaffee program.
What would you do if your online store converted 36% more shoppers? You could take 36% more vacation.
Another pina colada? Yes, please.
Open a new retail location with 36% more square feet.
Fantastic.
Hire 36% more help.
You're hired and you're hired.
Shopify has the world's best converting checkout, up to 36% better than other e-commerce platforms. What you do with those extra sales is up to you. Switch to Shopify today at shopify.com/listen and get a $1 trial. Shopify.com/listen.
When the moments in your life are too important to miss, you can trust O'Reilly Auto Parts to keep you and your plans on the road. Our professional parts people can test your vehicle's battery and even give it a charge if needed. In most cases, we can install your new battery for free. It's just one of the many services we provide at O'Reilly Auto Parts to ensure life's best moments don't find you stranded.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Hey, soccer fans! U.S. Soccer's gold medal-winning women's national team faces World Cup champion Spain in an epic showdown at Audi Field in D.C. on October 10th. Don't miss this incredible match. Snag your tickets at ussoccer.com/tickets.
Welcome back to the Yaffee program. News Talk 770 AM, 92.5 FM, WVNN. Doing my part to make radio great again. It's what the T-shirt says that many of you have. You're probably wearing it right now. What can I say? By the way, you'll like this text, Bugsy. One person said, it is Bugsy's destiny to rule over WVNN with an iron fist one day, and Yaffee will then be her coffee slave. So let it be texted, so let it be done. So there you go. You looking forward to that?
What are you talking about? I already rule over it with an iron fist. The only difference is you'll be my coffee slave. That's all I need, right?
I guess so. It's just the next logical step is that I become your coffee slave.
I'm like the Shadow King, beneath Dale.
Yeah, well,
maybe I can get him to, you become his coffee slave, but it's actually for me.
He doesn't like coffee, though.
Yeah,
he doesn't like coffee.
But it's not for him.
Oh, that's true. That's a good point. So if he ever asks me for coffee, I know it'll be you controlling him.
Yeah.
Controlling me or something.
Just
like
the puppeteer of VNN.
If you have any texts like that, you can weigh in on anything, as always. Weigh in on our text line, the Yaffee text line, 866-494-9866, 866-494-WVNN. I want to talk about this, and I'll tell you why in a moment. But Paul Ryan and Les Ford put out an op-ed at the Wall Street Journal. And it says, Americans are getting caught in the safety net. It said the 1996 welfare reform helped move people from dependency to work. We need to do that again. And they put this out a few days ago because it was the 30th anniversary of the 1996 welfare reform law. It was called the Personal Responsibility and Work Opportunity Reconciliation Act. It was a rare bipartisan domestic policy achievement. It began with a simple insight. Government assistance should help people move toward work and independence, not make poverty a permanent condition. And one of the reasons why I think this is important is because it does seem like, one, we can never pass anything like this on a bipartisan basis anymore, which is really sad. It should be bipartisan. But it seems like now the Democrats take it as a badge of honor how many people they can get on whatever welfare program it is. So more people are now on Obamacare or Medicaid expansions. They're like, see, we need more people on these government programs. When the number of people on WIC, SNAP, whatever, food stamps, when that goes up, they say we need more people on food stamps. They see it as a goal, a merit badge. If there was a Democrat Party sash or something that they wore and they had merit badges, like in the Boy Scouts or something, they would have one on the dependency badge, I guess, that you would sew on there. But that's how they see it. But that's not how it should work. So Paul Ryan had a different idea. Go ahead real quick, because he did an interview on this as well. Play a Paul Ryan cut one for me, Bugsy, if you can.
Far apart are the two parties on issues of work and welfare, especially compared to 30 years ago in 1996?
Oh, definitely farther apart compared to 30 years ago. I wouldn't lump all Democrats in the same bucket, but the core of the Democratic Party, the progressive wing, the DSA wing, obviously is very, very far apart. I think we occupy the moral high ground because helping people live the best versions of their lives, maximizing their potential in life and getting up and out of poverty, that's the moral high ground. And I think that's what we occupy with these kinds of ideas. And we demonstrated this in 1996 with a very bipartisan welfare reform. These Democrats today aren't Bill Clinton Democrats. There are some Bill Clinton Democrats around. But what I'm pushing here at the American Idea Foundation, which is my foundation, I work with AEI, the think tank I'm affiliated with, and I work with the University of Notre Dame's Poverty Lab on these things, is that the data is really clear. The best way to help people get out of poverty is work. And if we want to get people out of poverty, then that's what we should be focused on. And if you want to keep people trapped in lives of dependency, not reaching their potential, then you go with things like universal basic income. Maybe that's good for redistribution, but it's not good for people. It's not good for our economy or society as a whole.
So he mentioned their universal basic income. And the reason why is you have some, even on the right, but mostly on the left, pushing the idea that we need a universal basic income. Everyone gets some kind of income from the government. So you talk about making it a merit badge to get as many people dependent on government as possible. That would be the ultimate way to do it. Universal basic income. But he said something there that shouldn't be controversial. There are so many issues like this where it's like, why is this even controversial? But he said, look, the best way to get someone out of poverty is work. Work works, as he says, getting a job, a decent paying job. Now, one of the issues that comes up when it comes to, okay, you're on some kind of welfare program, you want to get a job, but if you get a job, then you might lose the benefits. That is an issue that comes up. And he talks about that as well and how to address that. So go ahead and play Paul Ryan cut 2.
There'll be new accounts that are work-based welfare reform, condition-based welfare reform, combined with good case managers. That's a critical ingredient here. Someone helping the poor family, the poor person, figure out their plan to get out of poverty, how to go back to work or how to go to school, how to search for a job, and then having a system designed to remove the benefit cliffs, which today, that's the other welfare programs I told about, are a massive disincentive to work. The basic point on benefit cliffs is a person who's in poverty will have a list of benefits. Those benefits will all have all these sort of cutoff levels at varying degrees because they're sort of a one-size-fits-all cookie-cutter approach across the country. If they seek an opportunity or get presented with an opportunity, a new job, a pay raise, maybe a single mom's going to do DoorDash as a side hustle while her kids are at school, they make that extra money, it triggers a reduction or an elimination of their benefits, the benefit cliffs, and they end up losing more in benefits than they gain in income, so they stay trapped in poverty, they stay where they are. They don't take that extra opportunity, grab that extra rung up the economic ladder to life of self-sufficiency because they lose more than they gain. And those benefit cliffs have become a huge poverty trap.
Now, I was listening to this interview. And by the way, I know some of you out there probably don't like Paul Ryan, former Republican vice presidential candidate, former Speaker of the House. He had his run-ins with Trump. Where Paul Ryan really went wrong, he was really great on wanting to reform entitlements so we could get out of our national debt problem. He talked about it like 20 years ago. If we would have followed his lead, we'd be in a much better position. But where he really went wrong with Republican politics is he was weak on immigration. There were several Republicans that were good on some issues, but when it came to the immigration issue, they were weak, and that was kind of a break for a lot of people in him. But I happen to hear this, and he's talking about the benefit cliff. And the reason why I'm like, okay, I want to talk about this because this is something that affected me personally. And I believe I've talked about it on the show before. But I've never really been on I've never been on a welfare program. I've never taken food stamps or anything like that. The closest that I have come to being on some type of government program like that is when I was in my 20s. I was working in radio as a producer. Wasn't really making any money, but I didn't want to live at home anymore. I went out and got an apartment it was in Florida, Orlando. They had income restricted apartments. And so if you made under a certain amount, you could get one of their apartments for a decent price. It was affordable. So I'm thinking at the time, I'm like, oh, this is a good idea. So I get this apartment. Now, the apartment complex had some problems. So we could, that's a separate issue. But I only stayed there a year. And the main reason why is I understood is, okay, I think I was making $24,000 a year, something like that. And I wanted to make more money. I mean, that was the basic thing. I wanted to find ways to make more money. And I realized that if I made more money, I would go above the income threshold. And that means I'd lose my apartment because I would no longer, or they would raise the rent because I would no longer qualify for the income restriction. And that benefit, like they talked about, sometimes when you have that, you lose more in benefits than you gain from getting more employment or making more money. And so you get kind of in this trap of poverty. And it occurred to me at the time, I said, oh, I don't want to just be in this cycle of poverty. I would rather make as much money as possible, to get as much work as possible, to move up as much as possible. I don't want to get stuck in a mindset where I don't want to do better for myself because, well, I got to keep this apartment. So I decided to move out after a year and moved into another place that was not, it was a little more expensive, but it was a little, was not income restricted because I wanted to make more money. I didn't want to be in a cycle where I'm like, well, forget this. I want to get this government benefit. I didn't want to do that. I needed to make more money. So I can imagine if I face that with something as simple as an income restricted apartment, I can imagine a lot of people face that in a lot of different programs. And that is one of the problems. If we're going to deal with this issue, we have to deal with that. The problem is, as I mentioned, is you have a lot of politicians, they have no interest in really lifting people out of poverty. Because as Paul Ryan said, the best way to lift people out of poverty is work, is a job. But there are many politicians, they have no desire to actually lift you out of poverty. They want you to stay put in that poverty because they want that number of someone who's on their government program. We have this many people on this new government program I created. Yeah, they're on welfare, but so what? That's how they address the issue of poverty. That is not how it should be addressed because it becomes a cycle. It weighs people down and it also prevents our overall economy from being more productive. And now Paul Ryan wrote here in this piece as well, which I think is an important point. He said, work is more than income. It's a source of meaning and it is central to family well-being. When parents don't work and families are dependent on the safety net, they face higher rates of intergenerational poverty, worse physical and mental health, and shorter life expectancies. When parents gain employment, their well-being improves and their children see better health, behavioral, and education outcomes. He says the better response to our broken safety net is to transform it. The path to the 1996 reform offers the model. Before Congress acted, governors in Iowa, Michigan, Minnesota, and Wisconsin tested work-focused policies and proved that better results were possible for low-income families. After reform, employment among single mothers rose from about 51% in 1992 to 76% in 2000, while child poverty fell substantially. So I don't know if this is like what he wants to do. He wants to try out some programs in the state to make it so you don't fall off these cliffs and everything else, which is good. I don't know if that'll work completely, but I wanted to share that because, one, I wanted to tell you personally how, yes, people get trapped in a cycle of poverty because of our welfare system as it is. And two, that, yes, work works. Beyond just getting people out of poverty, it is good for the civil society. It is good for the economy. It is good for individuals. And it's a shame that every time this topic comes up, we can't just admit that on a bipartisan basis. So if you want to weigh in, you can. We have the Yaffee text line, as always, 866-494-9866, 866-494-WVNN. Much more to get to on the Yaffee program. Christopher Reed's going to join us at the top of the hour as well. We'll be back in a moment.
It's the Yaffee program on WVNN.
All right, we're back here on the Yaffee program. News Talk 770 AM, 92.5 FM, WVNN. I am Alabama's Truth Czar. This is Huntsville's Disinformation Board. Christopher Reed's going to join the show in the next hour. One thing he wants to talk about, he shared a piece with me, which I found pretty interesting. It's by Michael Schellenberger. And it talked about how it wasn't Our political divide was not caused by the right getting too extreme. The evidence suggests it really was the left getting too extreme. So I had a bunch of stats, poll numbers in it. So we'll talk about that. I know Chris will be passionate about that issue. One thing I did want to mention, too, I talked about how, I was affected by something and I had to deal with welfare reform. Another thing I'm being affected by right now is, Evie, my child, is she's 3. She just turned 3. That means in a couple of years, she's going to be in kindergarten. So this means when we talk about the issue of school choice or education reform or even homeschooling, it affects me personally. I have to think about this. I don't have Dale Jackson money. It would be very expensive for my family to be able to put both of my kids in a private school. Doesn't mean maybe I could figure out a way to do it, but if I don't have the help of a school choice program, it would be, pretty costly, especially with the cost of everything going up. So I have to think about that. And I'm thinking, okay, if I'm thinking about this, because I know a lot of people that are homeschooling their kids. It is much more prevalent than it used to be, even when I was a kid. I had friends when I was a kid who were homeschooled. And there were good and bad results. Depends on the parents, honestly. But I know a lot more now as adults. So the reason I bring this up is I saw this because people always say, well, the school voucher programs or whatever, that's just paying out to families who already have their kids in private schools if you make it universal. Now, Texas is an example where this is brought up. So Texas Senate candidate James Talrico, he said last year that vouchers are welfare for the wealthy. He says, basically what I was just saying that. Well, it's just helping kids who are already going to be in private school. And we're hearing that here. So Doug Jones says he wants to phase out our school choice program in Alabama. Phase it out. People that are on it, they could stay, but no one knew. So, that could affect me possibly. But he says here, more than 85,000 students from 895 school districts have confirmed that they'll use a state-funded scholarship toward private school in Texas or homeschooled expenses in the coming year. According to a report, some 68,000 or 80% are in households making 200% or less of the federal poverty level. Now, what do you think that is? Oh, that's 200% above the poverty level? They shouldn't get any help here. Well, that's just $66,000 a year for a family of 4. If you're making $66,000 a year and you got 2 kids, I don't think you can afford to put those kids in a private school. At least not a decent one. So another 17,300 students are in households between 200 and 500% of the poverty threshold, meaning no more than $165,000 a year for a family of 4. More than 20,000 students, or about 25%, also have a disability. This outcome is by design. The law gives priority to children with disabilities and lower incomes, and a $1 billion funding cap means the program won't reach other tiers of applicants. It says the figures are incomplete right now. But I think about even if you make $165,000 a year. No, that seems like it's good. It's more than I make. That seems good. But if you're putting 2 kids in private school, that's a big dent. And with inflation and the cost of housing right now and healthcare and everything else, unfortunately, it's not as much as it used to be. But you have right there 68,000 of them, 80% are in households 200% or less of the federal poverty level. I'm sorry, that is not welfare for the wealthy then, if you're talking about the school choice program. So a lot of times in the beginning, you have people that were already in private school using it. But as the program continues, you have a lot of people that really just want their kids to have a better opportunity using this program that could not afford it otherwise. So I just had to point that out because I guarantee a lot of you are parents or grandparents and kids are about to go to school and you want them to be able to use that as well. Speaking of affordability, if you need a new appliance, that can be kind of expensive sometimes. If you want to be able to afford a top quality appliance, the place to go, you know where it is, Jay's Appliance Outlet in Athens. They get new appliances in all the time. Inventory is changing. And if you want to save even more money, they have scratch and dent deals. So go to the website, jaysapplianceoutlet.com. Go to the showroom. You can maybe even see Jay yourself there if he's there. Right off 72 in Athens, or give him a call. Dial pound 250, city keywords Jay's Appliance Outlet. Jay's Appliance Outlet, they can service what they sell as well. Tell them Yaffee was the one who sent you.
You're listening to Yaffee on WVNN.
Hey, soccer fans! U.S. Soccer's gold medal winning women's national team faces World Cup champion Spain in an epic showdown at Audi Field in D.C. on October 10th. Don't miss this incredible match. Snag your tickets at ussoccer.com/tickets.
Start your day with the morning jolt of Drake C. Toll.
See, now it's on demand. My podcast is kind of a radio thing, I think, but also it's a bit of a TV show, and it's about whatever I want it to be. It's listening live as it happened, when it happened, with the instant reaction.
Your home for talking sports.
We go back. The Drake Toll Show, Westwood One Sports Network. And there it will be, on demand, on your radio. Anywhere in the country, I'll see you there.
Westwood One Sports Talk, your home for Drake C. Toll. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
The Yaffee Program on WVNN.
Welcome to the second hour of the Yaffee Program on News Talk 770 AM, 92.5 FM WVNN. It is the show where you can count on the latest news, the important guests, and the best analysis, all for your morning commute. And if you miss any of the show live, well, the podcast will be up on the website. It's working today. That's good. We'll be up on the website at WVNN.com or anywhere you subscribe or get your podcasts. So Michael Schellenberger has an interesting story at his website. It says progressives will be horrified when they wake up to what they've done. The sterilization of children, the killing of mentally ill addicts, the decimation of education, and more will haunt the left. He's making the point here that it's not our political divide is not because the right has gotten more extreme, but that the left got more extreme. So I want to talk about this right now with Christopher Reed. He's host of The Daily Controversy. He's also a retired lawyer. You can check all of his stuff at thedailycontroversy.com. Chris, how are you, sir?
I'm good.
So, yeah, talk about this. You were the one who actually shared this story with me, and I found it pretty interesting. He's saying that there is proof now that really the left got more extreme in our politics, not the right.
Yeah, I mean, we've kind of known that anecdotally, but there was a study, I think, from 1988 to, I think, 2024, and it took about 14 of the major issues, and they saw that on the Democrat side, there was like a 33 or something like that point swing to the left, which is very, very left in this particular example. But among Republicans, there's only about a 2.8 point swing to the right. So it is true that Republicans have got slightly more conservative. There are some issues they went bigger on, but if you look at the sum total of the other ones, it's actually conservatives have been conservative all along. If you actually look at patriotism too, conservatives have a very high patriotic rating. It's something like 90+%. Democrats, it's like 30%. And we see this, we see it across religious attendance, church, views on God. Every metric you see on the left has gone far left. I think in like the 1990s, something like 50 to 57% of Democrats attended church services at least once a month. I think now it's 20%. So it's just interesting because they accuse us of, you guys are far right, you're doing this. But it's funny, if you take a lot of Trump's policies and you look at some of the more moderate policies of, say, a Bill Clinton or, some of the things Reagan did, Trump is not this right-wing bomb thrower. He loves America. He wants efficient government. He wants to make sure we're protected. And the only criticism I often have of Trump is, like, I wish he'd go a lot further on the deficit and debt. But to his credit, I mean, he really can't, because if he tried to do something dramatic on that, it would destroy, like, Republicans would lose the election. So I think he's just doing the best he can.
So it's interesting because when you shared this article with me, my first thought really was, well, if you're on the left wing, I mean, the Democrats for years have been flirting with, say, socialism. And socialism doesn't work. Even when you go kind of socialism light, it doesn't work. So instead of learning from their mistakes, well, this stuff doesn't work, maybe we should change, crazy people kind of double down. Those who are extreme, they're just going to get more extreme, and they're just going to blame other things for their problems. Would you agree with that at all?
Yeah, I mean, the real problem here, and we've talked about this, is that if you, and the audience can do this, talk to someone that's very far left and just ask them about some basic things. Like, ask them if they think Fauci was a great leader, or if he lied about COVID. And most of them will think, no, he never lied about COVID, even though we know he lied about the mask and they knew about the risk to pregnancies early on. They lied about that. I mean, these things are not debatable points. We have objective data. His text message, we actually, one of the people close to him has just been indicted. So, ask them something like that, and they will get the wrong answer. And same thing if you ask about, what about police brutality and African Americans? The average leftist will say thousands of African Americans or unarmed African Americans are killed every year. And then if you show them the data, and this is from a Harvard professor mentioned, Harvard's not known for being really conservative, just by the way. It was 9 in 2019, but it's always hovered between maybe 5 to 15. But if you ask any leftist, the average number they will give you is thousands of unarmed black people, when really some years it doesn't even approach double digits. And again, those are FBI data points, and a lot of the data points from that are during Obama, during Biden, and you could show it to them. But the point is, even if you show them data, even if you say this is from the Biden DOJ, this is from Obama DOJ, I promise you 95% of them will not change their mind, and they'll probably get more ingrained in it, because what our problem is, we think that everyone's a critical thinker and they will weigh facts and evidence. But the data on that is not true. A much smaller group of the population is what we call critical thinkers. And if you look at the left, for them, their beliefs are their faith. So for us, it's like, I'm not going to change my faith in Christ, but we understand that. I mean, that's our Christian faith. But they're not going to change their beliefs, because these aren't intellectual beliefs. These are religious beliefs. And I think that's where Schellenberger went wrong, because he says the left is going to regret it and feel bad about it and all that stuff. That will never happen. Now, it will happen for a small amount of them. That is true. And he points out a few examples. But like you said, these people don't apologize. If you look at what they did to Donald Trump, ask any Democrat anyone this is for the audience, and ask him if maybe the Democrats went too far in indicting Trump 91 times. You will not get a single person, or maybe I don't think any of y'all will get a single person saying, no, he didn't deserve that, or maybe they went too far. The number one response when that question is asked to Democrats, and this is moderate, left, doesn't matter, is Democrats didn't go far enough. So this idea that Democrats are going to change and that they're going to repent and do this, that's never going to happen outside of a very, very vanishingly small percentage, because, again, this is not a political belief. This is a religious belief, and therefore it's really hard to change it.
Speaking with Christopher Reed, he is host of The Daily Controversy. So do you think maybe politically they'll regret it if they start losing elections? Is that it? Maybe some of the leadership will be like, oh, we need to moderate a little bit so we can win elections, or even that doesn't really matter?
I used to think that, Yaffee. I really did, until 2024, and they lost, and they had the data they lost because of the trans issue, the immigration issue, some of their economic policies. The DNC platform has gotten significantly more left-wing than it has 2 years ago. If you actually look at what Democrats are saying in 2026 versus 2024, they are much more to the left on average. So the only thing that Republicans winning an election, let's say we pull out, a tough midterm and we end up keeping the House and the Senate, even if we do that, even if we win, I don't think they're going to moderate. If anything, they're only going to go harder left, because what they're going to blame for the loss, Democrats didn't go far enough. They're always going to say it's the establishment. They're not going to realize it's their crazy left-wing rhetoric. And it used to be that they would, but that was in the time of the 90s when Democrats were more rational and they had more connection to America and they were more patriotic. Because they're none of those things anymore, based on the data that we've talked about many times in your show, the self-correcting mechanism is not there.
It's interesting, too. You were talking about how they double down on wanting to convict Trump. And they'll even say, they'll be like, oh, he's a convicted felon. And usually my response to them will be, what was he convicted of? What was the crime? And 99% of the time when I ask someone that, they have no idea. they don't even, because it was a stupid trial in New York and everything else. And we've talked about that before. But that kind of proves your point. It's not really about like you actually committing a crime or something. It's just they have that Trump derangement syndrome. They don't like him, and they're radical.
Yeah, and Trump, the funny thing is Trump is really more of he's in the place of normal patriot Americans, people that generally love their country, love their community, have faith in God, want to make the America like a better place and want to have safe streets. And they see Trump as getting in the way of their socialist left-wing agenda, which is chaos, suffering, and death, even though they believe, it's a utopia. But all the socialists thought they were bringing utopia. Mao, Stalin. But the problem is with people who really believe in utopia, which actually means no place because it doesn't exist on this earth, they're willing to do whatever it takes. And if you look at the DSA rhetoric, they've already said many times the only way to bring some of this about is by violence. Now, they may use some of them use different words, but socialists from the very beginning of the socialist movement have always said it's riots, it's violence, it's purges. So nothing has actually changed, and people need to realize that. That's what scares me, is that we have two political parties in this country, and one of them has gone so far left that they're indistinguishable from the early Russian Revolution communists. And if they're not there now, they'll be there in 5 years.
Yeah, it's not a good thought. That's very scary. But I think you're mostly right on that. And speaking of Christopher Reed, I do want to ask you on a completely different topic before you go, but I wanted to ask you this because you're a retired lawyer. What is your take on the flock camera issue? I mean, to me, it's kind of like a moral panic, but there are some conservatives who say having a flock camera up there, getting the data, is a violation of the Fourth Amendment. What's your take on that?
I understand what they're saying because there's a difference between privately giving your data to the government and then the flock camera. But the problem is, Yaffee, is like even without the cameras, we have the most advanced satellite systems on Earth. We can look at everybody's like your pin from planet if we want to. We also have cameras that send to the cloud and they collect information now. And it's not just flock. There's a million other ones. So flock camera is more of a symbol of where we are technologically. But having a flock camera or not is really going to be incredibly minimal because, again, we are all giving our information, our location, everything we do every second of the day in a much more intimate and powerful way than any flock camera could. And flock cameras mainly look at license plate numbers, and they will look and see if like there's somebody that's missing, and they'll do like an AI thing. But they're not necessarily looking at what you believe or why you believe it. We're giving that stuff, which is way more important. And they can only they're stationary too, so they can't look at everything in the whole world. They can only look at one particular stationary place. That's why I think it's more of a moral panic, like you said. Now, if people don't want them and the city doesn't want them, don't get them. I mean, people have the freedom to say no. I don't have a problem with that. But as far as like this is some big like this is going to make things really different, it's not. We're already there. It's like people opposing data centers. We're going to have them. You're not going to stop AI. And railing against it is going to make getting better regulations a little bit harder. So often, I don't get it, Yaffee, but I think some people just want to find something to be angry at because it's easier to be angry at something than it is to try to fix actual problems. And that's our biggest problem in the United States.
You know, I think you hit the nail on the head there too when you said it's kind of a symbol. I think it's something they can point to because we're all kind of nervous about the future of technology. And this is a way, both issues, honestly, data centers and flock cameras. It's kind of a reflection of that sort of nervousness about AI in the future. I would agree with that. Christopher Reed, host of The Daily Controversy. Appreciate you coming on the show as always, my friend. We'll talk to you again soon.
All right. Sounds good, buddy. Bye.
All right. And we'll be back here in just a moment on the Yaffee Program.
The Yaffee Program.
Welcome back to the Yaffee Program. I'm Alabama's voice of reason, Huntsville's conservative conscience. Don't forget to like the Yaffee Facebook page or follow me on X at Yaffee or Instagram at Yaffee Live. It was a good conversation I had with Christopher Reed. It's interesting because he was like, look, on the issue of flock cameras, it's very minimal. If you're worried about the so-called surveillance state, or you're worried about technology keeping track of us, flock camera, any kind of camera like that, a license plate reader camera, it's kind of the least of our worries. And usually the response will be, yeah, but the other kinds of technology, it's not the government doing it. I mean, when you're talking satellite technology, it could be. But I think what he said is correct. It's more of a symbol. I mean, flock cameras, some of these flock cameras have been around for a while. Nobody cared until now. Why? Because they're nervous. AI is really starting to come online. It's starting to be a part of our daily lives. It's having an effect on warfare with the drone technology, on our economy, everything else. So people are nervous about it. They're nervous about the future. They don't know what it means for jobs or whatever, surveillance. So they're starting to kind of react to things that are somewhat related. Flock cameras is one of them, where they didn't care about it until now, and spreads on social media too. But they're starting to worry about it because it represents AI. Data centers is the same thing. It's interesting. Mo Brooks was on with Dale earlier, and he was talking about this, and he's not a huge fan of some of these data centers. But even he said there are many data centers in Madison County right now. Did anyone really notice? I mean, did anyone really care? So this idea that data centers are going to bring all of these problems to our communities, are they doing that now? Is it a big issue now, or is it just a fear of something else? And a lot of it's a fear of AI. It is. It's not so much the data center itself, it's what it represents that had people all nervous and scared and confused. That beyond that, I don't think most people notice them. Nobody notices where a data center is. Maybe, I mean, you're going to always find an example, an exception to the rule, okay? And in our social media world, that's all you need. You put the video of that one that's the exception to the rule, and that kind of creates a problem. It's like flock cameras. For the most part, they're used to catch criminals and save lives, but you get a few examples where they've been abused. That's always the exception to the rule, but, you know, it spreads, and that becomes the story. I get it. But I think Chris was onto something there, that it really is a symbol. Now, it's interesting because, and I know Dale was talking about it during his show earlier, but we have a proposed data center in Bessemer, Alabama. It's going to be a $14.5 billion hyperscale data center. It's known as Project Marvel. It's a 1,600-acre development. It's backed by Logistics Land Investment, LLC, which is interesting. And apparently, the Bessemer mayor is now facing a runoff because there is a backlash to it. You can have something that could really help the local economy, which Bessemer needs. And no, it's the opposite. There's a backlash to it. And then there's this. I just saw this today from Alabama Daily News. It says data center company is going to fund 10,000 scholarships for Bessemer students. So they're trying to help even more. And I had mentioned before, West Virginia, they're putting up so many data centers, and they're expecting so much tax revenue that they're going to phase out the state's income tax. It just seems crazy to me to say no to that. But as I mentioned, it's not because of the data center itself. That's not the issue. It's not the flock camera itself. It's about the idea of data centers, the idea of AI, the perception, what that stands for, which, of course, will create a moral panic. So I know some of you disagree. You can tell me why on the Yaffee text line, 866-494-9866, 866-494-WVNN. One thing you cannot disagree with me on are the great doctors at the Huntsville Men's Clinic on the results that you can get if you go to the Huntsville Men's Clinic. If you're dealing with things caused by low testosterone, it can affect your daily life. Talking to guys, you can get your testosterone checked. Very easy to do, and then get treatments that work. I mean, yeah, you can go online and try to find a pill online for cheap, and it's not going to work. Instead, go to the Huntsville Men's Clinic. Real results. 92% of men have seen results from the treatments at the Huntsville Men's Clinic. They have been They've been around in Huntsville for 5 years. They're part of a system that's been in Alabama for about 15 years. Powered by Men's Pro. Go to the website right now, HuntsvilleMen'sClinic.com. HuntsvilleMen'sClinic.com. When you go, let them know Yaffee was the one who sent you. Got What's Trending coming up next. You're on the Yaffee program. Stay with us.
It's the Yaffee program on WVNN.
Mic Drop, hosted by former Navy SEAL Mike Ridland.
How would you characterize your prowess?
I'd say my style is that I just kind of outwork everybody till I get there.
Because I'm not a quitter. It's just you, and that's yourself. Whereas everything else is team-oriented.
The motivation, it was a sort of anger at myself for being weak. That ends up being the driving factor. That anger, that pride, that ego, I think it's a muscle. It gets stronger. When you take that voice seriously, you start to change your life.
Mic Drop. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
Hey, soccer fans! U.S. Soccer's gold medal winning women's national team faces World Cup champion Spain in an epic showdown at Audi Field in D.C. on October 10th. Don't miss this incredible match. Snag your tickets at ussoccer.com/tickets.
Welcome back to the Yaffee program. We're here on Newstalk 770 AM, 92.5 FM, WVNN. Appreciate you joining the show. Don't forget the podcast will be up after the show if you miss any segment. And Bugsy is here as well producing. She's my favorite person because she brought me coffee yesterday. And she's going to do What's Trending right now.
Keeping you up to date with all that's trending in your world.
Oh, they have the internet on computers now.
You guys know how to post videos to Facebook?
It's What's Trending.
Sponsored by Coleman Furniture Market, located in the heart of Coleman, Alabama. Their big Labor Day sale. I've been telling you about it. It's still going on. So you want to take a drive to Coleman. It's worth it because they have the best furniture brands for the best prices, the best customer service. And yeah, I mean, I didn't have a big truck to put my furniture in, so they delivered it to my house. They can deliver to anywhere in the state of Alabama. You can find out more by going to the website right now, ColemanFurnitureMarket.com. You can like their Facebook page or follow them on Instagram as well. They're posting pictures all the time. One time they did like a walkthrough video and they had to speed it up, because I mean, there's just so much to look at. You'd be there all day. And in fact, that's the only downfall. You get overwhelmed because there's so much to choose from. So go to Coleman Furniture Market, get some new furniture. And when you do, let them know Yaffee was the one who sent you. All right, Bugsy, what's number 5 today?
Number 5 today, Yaffee. It is a very, very, very important day. And I will bet you $5 you cannot guess why.
I think you just want $5. You know I can't guess. I have no idea.
I might just want $5. I don't know. It is just throw something out there. You'll probably get it. You'll get close. Surely.
It's National Coffee Day.
No, that would have been good. No, it is Crab Soup Day.
Yeah, you're right.
So
I would have never guessed
important.
that.
So very important.
I don't know if I've ever had crab soup.
I don't. Yeah, me either. Does it, like the juice that you get when you go to like what's that crab place called that everybody used to go to?
Joe's Crab Shack?
Yeah, I was gonna call it Krabby Joe's. I was close. I didn't think it was actually Joe. Whatever. So when they boil do the crab boils and stuff, does it like the juice, like the water, does that count as crab soup?
I don't know. I mean, sure. Yes.
Just drink
I've
some
never
crab
had it.
water,
No
some
idea.
crab juice.
I think they just put a crab claw in there and
just put a crab claw in some water and it's
yeah.
crab
There you
soup,
go. Crab
whatever.
juice. I don't know. No idea.
It's also International Lottery Day, so it's the day to go win the lottery for us, Yaffee. Just give me half.
I wish. Well, I mean, if I won the lottery, I'd give you some, sure.
Like $20.
Can you imagine? I win like $15 million or something, and I'm like, Bugsy, I told you I'd give you some. Here's a clean 20.
You flick a coin at me and get yourself something nice.
Exactly.
No, so actually, I have a great aunt. She's passed away now, but she actually won. It's not the lottery, but she won. I think it was $2 million at Tunica.
Wow.
Yeah, and the first thing she did was just go buy a yellow. You know those little smart cars. She
Yeah.
bought a yellow smart car, and this was during the iPhone 5 time where they were colorful, super colorful. She bought an iPhone 5C in a matching shade of yellow to the car.
This is why a lot of people win the lottery and it broke.
Yeah, and then she bought a lot of
like
guns. So then there was that.
Jeez.
She made me hold them. I don't know. I was like, no, I'm good.
You know, it is a good question because you always get the question, what would you do if you won the lottery? But it is a good question. What's the first thing you would buy?
So what would you buy?
The first thing I would buy?
Yes.
See, that's why I say it's a good question. I don't know. I would probably just pay off my house.
That's pretty smart.
Which
smart.
is
You wouldn't
like,
buy a new
I know.
cooler house?
like
Just
you know,
burn
I
your
should.
house down and get a new one?
I think
That's very
honestly,
Yaffee to do.
Yeah, that's true. Honestly, I think the first thing I would buy is like my whole family dinner or something. Like we would go to like the fanciest restaurant and
Yeah.
be like,
You know what would be cool? I think if I won the lottery, I'd have like all of my favorite people. We'd go out to eat at my favorite restaurant. Okay, my favorite, not anybody else's favorite.
Yeah.
And I would give them a little slip of paper and say, tell me one thing you want. I think that would be fun. That would be fun because I think
And
I'd
then
have
not
more
give
fun
it to them?
Yes, and get it for myself. Get it for myself. Get it for myself and like flaunt it.
But Dale should use that for Free for All Friday one week. Not what you would do if you won the lottery, but what's the first thing you would buy? I think it's an interesting question.
Yeah, I think
anything else today?
Yeah, it's also LBJ Day, Lyndon B. Johnson Day. Happy Lyndon B. Johnson Day.
Sure. Was it his birthday? Or what? Oh.
I think so.
Okay.
I don't really know.
It probably is.
It didn't have much information, and I was just moving on because the better one was National Just Because Day.
Just because.
Just because. You ever do anything just because?
I would do a lot of things if I won the lottery. Winning the lottery would go well with just because.
It would. It really does. I think that's why I would do the dinner thing, or but also that would make sure that nobody kills me in my sleep and takes my money. I think. if I give them one thing.
But what are you going to have your money in your house? Like,
yes,
it doesn't going to be in a bank.
I guess I'll buy a safe.
Like, how would they kill you? And they're like, I'm going to take your money. It's like, well, it's in the bank. So what is it?
Well, they could just take my debit card. I'm a very predictable person. They could probably guess my PIN number.
Okay. All right. What's number 4?
Number 4 today, Yaffee. Fanta, which some say is pronounced Fanta. Have you ever heard that? Fanta.
No. Only communists say that.
Only communists say Fanta. It's actually the right way to say it. They have a little jingle. It's like, don't you want a Fanta? You know, it's.
I don't believe that.
It's real. It's on the. I have a picture of an ad that says that right now.
It's Fanta.
It's Fanta. Okay, I'm gonna keep saying it like that. It's. They're coming out with some new ghost face drinks. This is in accordance with a new Scream 7. I didn't know they were up to 7. Did you think we'll ever get to 20? Yeah, I did Scream.
Sure,
20.
might as
I can't
well.
wait till double digits. It's gonna be great. Are they just are they rehashing the same movie or doing like something?
It's like
new?
Fast and the Furious.
Jeez, aren't they on?
It's like the
7?
first one was good, and then like everything else was crap.
Isn't there planes and like spaceships and stuff now in that?
Yeah, like it's just like it's nothing like what it started at. Sorry, go ahead.
So they're coming out with this new ghost face punch, and I'm going to describe this to you, and I want you to try to guess what the flavor is, okay?
Okay.
The way they describe it is limited edition spooky season Fanta, bursting with fruity taste, fizzy, fruity flavored refreshment, and playful spooky vibes.
It probably has pumpkin spice in it.
I
That's
wish.
probably what it is.
I wish. Is that your guess?
Yes.
Yeah, it's a dark berry punch soda.
You said fruity, so I'm just probably has fruit in it.
I know. What does dark mean? Like dark berry? What is that? Spooky?
Blackberry?
Is it going to scare me when I drink it?
Maybe.
Am I going to get scared? It's so
Maybe.
good it scares you. It looks like they actually have different flavors. Either that or they're just like redoing their labels for everything. I think the purple
Maybe.
one. So they have a purple one. It's very unclear on this. I am, of course, dyslexic and I cannot read my own picture that I printed out. I'm sorry, Yaffee. They have an orange one, a purple one, a yellow one, and a red one. I think they all but the purple are regular flavors. I never drink it, so I don't really know. But the purple one, I believe, is the new one, and it has the Scream face on it, the little you know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
The typical scream face. The other ones have pumpkins. I believe a vampire. It looks like something out of the Lost Boys, and a werewolf. So they've got cool little designs for Halloween. It's August.
Oh.
It's August.
It's
It's available now.
I don't know. I like when I go to a movie and they have the Coke freestyle thing, I'll get strawberry Fanta. It's pretty good.
You're a weirdo,
No?
Yaffee.
No,
It's
you
called
don't get
Fanta.
strawberry Fanta?
No.
good
Weirdo, it's
stuff.
Fanta. Get it right.
Oh, that's right.
Get it right.
Excuse
okay?
me.
Whatever.
Well, what's next?
So next today, Yaffee, number 3, turns out New Zealand was just the first of many yesterday when we were talking about them banning things for kids. They wanted to get kids completely off the internet. Of course, everybody at this point has heard of Meta's lawsuit settlement where they are kind of banning kids to some degree. My idea was that they... So they basically turn it off at the end of the day for kids. And my idea, I think they should play the national anthem and have a little waving American flag when it signs off for the night. You know, don't you like that idea?
Well, sure, yes.
Like how TV
for
used to
social
be?
Media?
Yes. I think that would be really fun.
I think we should do it for TV, too. Why not?
It would be
Netflix.
more fun. I mean, come on. But
When you get off your Netflix account, you hear the national anthem.
You're like, okay, and you go to bed.
I like it.
But I do have a really big question before I move on with other stuff about this, like the topic of kids being kicked off the internet now. Couldn't you just change, like, your location and it's not nighttime anymore?
Yeah, that's a good. Yeah, that's a good point. I don't know. I have not.
Kids are crafty.
I guess they
get
figure
around
most people
that.
aren't smart enough to do that.
I guess so. I don't know. It might be linked to your IP address, but again, you can.
I mean,
you can
most of
change
this.
that.
Most of this, there probably is a way around it,
Yeah, it's
but you make it
preventative.
such.
You get the
We make it
lowest
such a
common
hassle where they're
yeah.
just not. It's not worth it.
You want to limit the amount of people doing it. You don't want to get rid of it
Right.
completely, and also you want to pretend like you're doing more than you are just because it makes people happy.
Okay. Very cynical take there. Jeez.
I'm sorry. The real solution to this is much more active moderation and parents actually caring what their kids are doing online.
The solution to most of our country's problems are parents caring about what their kids are doing. That would solve a lot of problems.
So Meta isn't the only ones, though. Roblox is also banning games that target kids with predatory game mechanics as well.
Oh, interesting.
So if it has anything that promotes constant watching of media or anything like that, they're getting rid of it very actively. For once, they're actually doing active moderation.
I like it.
Right. I mean,
like it.
I guess New Zealand had it right. We're moving forward with this kind of stuff.
They just went to the extreme.
Yeah, they're like, just get rid of it. Just come on.
Just get rid of the internet.
No internet. No, just chop it down. Chop it down.
Right, yeah.
So,
what's number 2?
So number 2 today, Yaffee, people online are very, very upset with Jelly Roll right now. And we've been getting a lot of texts as well about what's the deal with him? What's up? What's up? So, of course,
I saw this.
He guest hosted Jimmy Kimmel Live. And he had this entire monologue with a bunch of jokes about Trump. He referred to him as fat at one point. He also referred to himself as fat. Basically, every joke, he also took it pot shot at himself as well.
Yeah, well, he used to be. Yeah, he lost a ton of weight.
Yeah,
but.
and he said that he referred to himself as a pastry at one point. I feel like that's a little worse than just calling Trump fat. But
yeah, geez.
But anyways, a lot of people are so upset about this that they're now just pulling up old photos of him drinking Bud Light, things like that, things that would make people want to, I guess, disown him.
Oh, cancel him. He's
cancel him. Yeah, but I get it. I get you're upset, but also this is basically the same thing as when the Steven Universe thing happened and the far left, the terminally online far left, decided to cancel a voice actor because she followed Charlie Kirk.
Oh my gosh.
On Twitter. I mean, you could separate them from their affiliations, but also, I mean, Jelly Roll's music sucks, so go for it. I think we should just keep going.
Well, I think what really upsets them is there was sort of an assumption that maybe he was a Trump supporter. I guess he had met Trump before, and
you can still be a fan and make fun of some guy.
So I don't know.
Right.
It does kind of seem like he's sold out a little bit. Like he's trying to get in with a specific crowd.
He's trying to do both. Yeah, he's trying because he referred to meeting Trump as an honor before. And I would say it's more of it is Jimmy Kimmel Live, to be fair. Maybe they required him to do something like this.
Well, it's just he's trying to get in with that crowd.
Yeah.
And that's what you have to do. Now he's going to be on Kimmel all the time and with the Hollywood types. And,
he's like,
I think
he's
that's
doing
what
like a
upsets
Hassan
people.
Piker type thing. He's going on his Hassan Piker arc, I guess.
Yes, exactly. All right, what's number one?
So number one today, unfortunately yesterday, Tim Curry, iconic actor from Rocky Horror Picture Show. And these are the only two that I really know him from are that and as the original clown from It.
Home Alone 2. You haven't seen
Home Alone 2? Yeah, he is in that. I forgot about that.
He's great in that.
Yeah, and unfortunately he did pass away yesterday at the age of 80. What's with 80-year-old people dying? And also, he didn't look 80 either.
Yeah, he definitely did not.
He really did not look. I had no idea he was 80.
Well, we talk about, too, that it comes in threes.
So who's the next one?
Well, no, there was Hayden Panettiere, then Dolly Parton, and Tim Curry.
Oh, I thought you were going to say 80-year-olds. I thought we were getting 3 80-year-olds.
Oh, yeah, that's the case, then I don't know. I was just saying celebrities.
Yeah, in general, like
Usually comes in
hopefully
threes.
we've got it. We don't lose any other people that we know and love.
Yeah.
But
people were posting like, I don't know, he was in some 80s movie with Tom Cruise and played the devil or something.
Oh, I remember. I can't remember the name of that one.
I've never seen that before, and I've seen clips now.
I
and
know
was like,
that one,
looks
but I
weird.
can't remember it.
Yeah, but I always think Home Alone 2, just because I guess I grew up with that, you know? But
Yeah,
he was really good in it, too.
I always think Rocky Horror Picture. I mean, that one was huge. Like, it has a massive cult following now.
Oh, that's,
and,
yes.
That's probably his legacy, honestly, more than anything else. But I
it's
actually have never
a pretty
seen
big
it.
one.
It's a huge part of his legacy, at least.
Yeah.
Because it's going to continue. They're going to keep doing Rocky Horror Picture Show on Broadway and everything like that still, you know, to the end of time.
All right. All right. Thanks, Bugsy. Appreciate it. We'll be back in a moment on the Yaffee program.
You're listening to Yaffee on WVNN.
Welcome back to the Yaffee program. News Talk 770 AM, 92.5 FM, WVNN. Glad you are here. Glad we sound good today. Thanks to the engineer, Nate, who was explaining everything that happened that caused the problems in great detail. So you knew he was an engineer because, you know, it's like talking to my dad. My dad's an engineer. Just saying, you talk to him. If you ask a question about how something broke, they will tell you. They're going to tell you all of it. But it was interesting because how the lightning strike caused all the problems is actually pretty interesting. All right, let's end the show like we usually do. We have the Yaffee program rewind. It is that time of the show once again where I remind you if you missed any of it live, well, the podcast will be up at the website, WVNN.com, or you can get it on the iHeartRadio app, the TuneIn Radio app, let's see, the WVNN app, Spotify, YouTube Music Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts. So at the beginning of the show, we were talking about this deal with Meta, where Meta has paid a lawsuit because they were basically doing things to target kids and get them addicted to social media. And I mentioned that this is actually something that gets bipartisan support. Limiting kids on social media. It's something that both sides of the aisle seem to agree with. Because we all kind of understand that you got to treat kids differently. They're impressionable. They can be influenced. They can get addicted. But for some reason, we just can't have that same approach when it comes to, say, the trans issue. All of a sudden, then it's like, no. No, we have to allow parents to trans the kids. And it just doesn't make any sense. You know, I mentioned, usually they're all for government control, even of kids, Democrats. Except when it comes to transing the kids, then they're like, no, parental rights. Parental rights. This makes no sense to me. So we talked about that at the beginning of the show. The podcast is up. We had the Alabama bullet points as well, the top stories from around the state, including the fact that Tuberville is slamming Canada over the trade war. And Tuberville also says he is not going to debate Doug Jones, because why? He says there's nothing new to learn. So we had that in the bullet points. The podcast is up. Then I talked about something pretty important, I think, where Paul Ryan and others want welfare reform for the future that isn't just universal basic income. and how Democrats seem to have it as a badge of honor to get more and more people dependent on some kind of government program when the goal should be to give them a hand up so they can get back to work. The best way to get out of poverty is to get a good paying job. So we talked about that. We also talked about school choice, which seems to be working for the middle class in Texas. Everyone says, oh, it's welfare for the wealthy. But Texas is an example where, no, it's really not. And Alabama is going to be that example. So are other states. It's a good thing. We talked about that. Then we had Christopher Reed on. He is host of The Daily Controversy. You can hear his show 2 to 4 p.m. right here on WVNN. He's a retired lawyer as well. We had talked about a piece from Michael Schellenberger that talks about how, at least according to polls, statistics, everything else, that the left really got more and more extreme. That our divide was not caused by the right getting more extreme. It was caused by the left getting more and more extreme. And he laid out the facts on that. He thinks the left will regret it. Chris Reed, though, thinks the left's just going to double down. So we talked about that. We talked about data centers. We had What's Trending. So if you missed it, the podcast is up. Thanks to Bugsy for producing today. Thanks to you for listening. I'll be back tomorrow at the same time in The Vince Show. It's coming up next.
The Yaffee Program.
Mic Drop, hosted by former Navy SEAL Mike Ridley.
What is your take? Was it what you expected?
Oh, it was the best thing ever.
It was something I always wanted to do.
If you show me a clear goal, I'm like, okay, I can do that. Master Chief, he's like, you realize there's about 1% chance of you making it through. 1%? That's all I need, Master Chief.
My platoon went home early, and I just went up to my chief, and I was like, I'm not going home.
Turns out I'm staying.
That's when we go to war. Yeah. I was like, okay, I could get used to this.
Mic Drop. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
Hey, soccer fans! U.S. Soccer's gold medal winning women's national team faces World Cup champion Spain in an epic showdown at Audi Field in D.C. on October 10th. Don't miss this incredible match. Snag your tickets at ussoccer.com/tickets. Hey, soccer fans! U.S. Soccer's gold medal winning women's national team faces World Cup champion Spain in an epic showdown at Audi Field in D.C. on October 10th. Don't miss this incredible match. Snag your tickets at ussoccer.com/tickets.